Welcome to the show, Jason. Thanks so much for coming today. So first of all, tell us about your childhood growing up. What was that like for you?
Yeah, my childhood was good. Yeah, I grew up with my grandparents. They were from Jamaica, so we kind of grew up in a kind of I wouldn't say strict, but like a church background. They were very much churchgoers, so obviously every Sunday and Saturday I had to go, well, dragged to church kind of sort of thing when I was very young and stuff. But it was good. You know, they were fantastic people. Yeah, I had a great childhood.
And when did you actually realise that you wanted to be a footballer? Was that at quite a young age, or that come later?
Yeah, it was just very much when I was growing up, 8, 9 years old. I was always playing in the playground with my friends and smashed more than enough windows, and my granddad told me off many enough times. But yeah, around about that time I was always playing a lot, and actually it kind of stopped me from going to church actually when I got to about 10, 11, because obviously football took over, and on Sundays I had to go and play football instead, which my grandma kind of like wasn't very happy about, but yeah, we did it, yeah.
Was she also proud of you for doing the football?
Yes, definitely, yeah. You know, when you come home with a couple of trophies and stuff when you're 12 years old and stuff, yeah, that kind of made up for it. Okay. Yeah, but I still had to say my prayers at night, so yeah, it was good.
And when did you actually get into football professionally? What happened in that stage?
Very fortunately, at the age of 16, I got asked to move to Blackpool. So kind of packed up my bags at 16 and left home. And from then on, you know, I was lucky enough to play for numerous clubs after that. You know, the likes of Wigan, Norwich, Preston, Leicester, Oldham, and a few more. But yeah, we're not going to go as far as that. We're quite a few more after that.
What were your best memories at the time? Because it must have all been very exciting for you.
My best memories was probably I got to play for my hometown club, which was always nice. I grew up like literally half a mile away from Bury Football Club, so I got to play for them, and it's still a team I follow now. But probably my best memories was playing for Wigan Football Club, where we'd had a couple of promotions and we gained promotion to the Premier League and stuff, yeah.
But it didn't remain exciting for you, because then it got to a stage where things kind of took a nosedive, didn't they?
Yeah. It kind of happened around about the time I actually left Wigan. I just mentioned we got promoted to the Premier League, and we had a bit of a falling out over contracts and stuff. They wanted me to stay, I wasn't happy with the contract, and I ended up leaving and moving to Norwich, which was in the league below the Championship. And straight away I knew I'd made the wrong decision. And being in Norwich, just signed, I very quickly became homesick and stuff. And I've always been kind of an emotional person. Even as a child I was always led by my emotions and stuff. And I knew I'd made this decision. I didn't feel it was right, and I was alone, and I was very frustrated that I'd made this wrong decision. And you know, that kind of very quickly escalated into something a bit more deeper and stuff.
What actually started to happen, Jason, after that? Because you're beating yourself up, you know, you thought you made the wrong decision, and now that you couldn't sort of turn that back. So what kind of things were you thinking, and what was going on in your head?
I had a couple of injuries when I first got there, which kind of like made me very frustrated. And I just wasn't performing the way I wanted to perform. You know, the standards that I'd set myself before, you know, and there's so much I wanted to achieve, and it kind of like, I became very angry and frustrated, you know, on the training ground and stuff. And, you know, it got to a point where I was actually arguing with the manager in front of the players, you know, I was just being disruptive in front of everybody and stuff. And it kind of like got to a point where obviously if you're going to be like that, you're not going to be in the team. And that made me even more frustrated and more angry when I was around the football club. But
what were you like at home? When you were Jason by himself at home, were you still that angry person?
At that early point, I knew something wasn't right, because I'd go home and I was literally kind of like, I'd cry to myself, because obviously I felt like I was letting everybody down. You know, I think I said before about my background and my grandparents who'd worked so hard, coming from the environment they'd come from, you know, working so hard to get to this country in the first place. I felt like I had such an opportunity to impress everybody, not just my grandparents, but the rest of my family, my sisters and brothers, and I wanted to provide for them.
So they weren't actually putting pressure on you, it was you putting pressure on yourself?
It was all pressure from myself. Looking back now, it was all pressure from myself. And, you know, we come from a family that didn't really have much, and I was earning good money and stuff, but I wanted to do more. I wanted to provide more for them. I wanted to look after my sisters and my brothers. I wanted to impress all my friends back home and stuff. But by doing that, I put too much pressure on myself, and it just got deeper and deeper.
Did you ever talk to anyone about what you were going through?
There wasn't anybody to talk to, because obviously you kind of, on the surface, I put up like I pretended that everything was okay. You know, in football, obviously, in most sports, you know, if you open up about stuff like this, you know, who was I supposed to talk to? The manager, the coach? Straight away, if I would have said, listen, something don't feel right here, I don't feel mentally right, straight away they would have said, Jason, well, you're not in the team next week. And that's the position I didn't want to be in. So back then there was actually nobody to talk to. And
which made you feel even more lonely, I suppose.
Yeah, definitely. And like I said, with my friends especially as well, you know, lots of my friends were back home having normal jobs, you know, working in offices, and, you know, I've got this supposedly fancy lifestyle and earning lots of money. You know, was I supposed to complain to them and say everything was all, you know, I felt really bad. You know, I felt like I couldn't speak to them either.
Yeah. Jason, was there anything that you did to make yourself feel better?
Yeah, surprisingly there was. I think there've been lots of incidents, you know, where people have been depressed and they could turn to drugs or alcohol or even gambling. You know, there's been lots of instances where people have done that. I actually didn't do any of them. I actually used to go shopping a lot. Okay. You know, after training, because shopping is very therapeutic, it used to make you feel better. So I used to spend a hell of a lot of money shopping on.
How much are we talking here? Each spending spree?
Each spending spree. I'd spend hundreds of pounds a day just buying stuff that I actually need, clothes especially, cars that I didn't need, because it would make me feel better for that brief moment. Was it
also to kind of maybe show people that I'm doing all right?
Yeah. You know, obviously my career wasn't doing as well as I want, but still, if I turned up in a brand new car, you know, obviously on the surface I'm doing pretty well here, and it would make me feel good, for a day or two. But then I'd be back where I was when I went home and stuff. So that was one of the main things I did and stuff. And it actually, another thing it actually affected was my relationship with some of my girlfriends and stuff, because I seek the attention of women as well, which I'm not proud to say, because obviously getting attention from women made me feel good about myself. Yeah. But really it kind of affected some of the relationships, you know, the meaningful relationships that I had and stuff.
So was that sort of then guilt added on top of everything else that you were feeling already? Massively,
yeah, definitely. And that was one of the biggest things as well, because like I said, I just trying to find something to replace that feeling I had from playing football. Yeah, so shopping and the attention of women, was the main things.
Okay. Well, what would you say was your worst moment?
Worst moment, it's probably this carried on for a good 5-6 years, and it affected my career massively.
Relationships as well.
Relationships as well, massively as well. The way I treated women, the way I treated myself and stuff. But yeah, towards the end, it got to a point where I was on the verge of suicide, and I was planning my own suicide, and you know, I was desperate to find somewhere else, you know what I mean? I didn't want to be around and stuff, yeah.
You say you were planning your suicide, but what would you say stopped you from doing that?
What stopped me? I do remember the day, because like I said, I planned my suicide. I used to daydream about it a lot, you know, I used to daydream about, you know, I'd be better off not here. But the day when it kind of like, there was an event over a weekend where things really escalated between my ex-partner, and we had a huge argument and stuff. And I think it was the morning, it was actually the death of Gary Speed that morning, where he took his own life and stuff. And that morning...
Was that shocking for you?
Yeah, that was shocking, and something clicked, and I actually reached out for the first time properly. I rang my dad, and he came round, and he had to check me into hospital and stuff.
How did it feel? Because that was the very first time that you'd actually lived in this for years, and going through all of this on your own. What did it feel like to actually finally reach out to someone? Did you feel sort of worse about yourself, or was it like, oh my God, I'm going to get some help finally?
It was actually a relief, and I talk to people now about it and stuff, and it is the first step, actually admitting there's an actual problem. Yeah. You know, admitting to people that something isn't right and stuff. And obviously I told my dad, and obviously my mum got to know, and my grandparents got to know, and that was a big relief in itself, just actually telling people and stuff like that. obviously I had to do lots of things after that, but yeah, that was the start of me getting better.
And talk us through the process now of how you recovered.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, I initially saw lots of different therapists, no disrespect to them, but I never really got that connection with them. I think it's very important when you start to speak up and open about your feelings and stuff, that you get connection with people. And eventually I came across a good friend of mine now and mentor, Mr. David Wilson, and we kind of worked through it together and spoke about the issues we had and stuff, and that was the real turning point and stuff.
So you felt like you were really able to open up to him? And
yeah. I think it's all about acceptance, I think. It's when you finally accept that, yeah, you've got a problem, and then you can take that on board and stuff, and then you can start working towards something, a solution and stuff.
And how important were your family in your recovery as well?
They were massive, because they kind of like reassured me, like, listen, you know, you don't have to provide for us. We're very proud of you anyway. You know, everything you've achieved. Yeah. You know, and I never really believed that. Like, I couldn't even, during my darkest moments, I couldn't even, you know, even look at one of my old shirts and stuff. I couldn't watch like old footage of anything, because I was just disappointed. I played over 300 games, but I felt like I achieved nothing. But now I'm able to look back and think, you know what, I actually did okay, kind of thing, for myself.
You're not so hard on yourself anymore.
I'm not so hard on myself anymore, yeah. So I'm in a really good place now.
But tell us about what you're doing now, because you're actually a therapist now yourself.
I am, yes.
It's amazing.
I'll mention him again, Mr. Wilson. He kind of pushed me in that direction.
Yeah.
And it's something that, it's I won't use the word selfish, but it's very therapeutic as well. You know what I mean? It makes me feel good that I'm helping other people. Yeah. And I've been doing it for, you know, a while now, you know, with his help and stuff, and I'm gaining lots more experience, and you know, we see over 300 people a week now in our clinic and stuff. Amazing. Between me and him, and it's going really well. And yeah, there's lots of ways that I want to take it. I want to, because it is an issue, you know what I mean? We all know that's why you're doing this fantastic job here, because you realise what an issue it is. You know, we all know about the statistics and stuff about mental health in this country, and it needs to be addressed. And if I can help just a few people, then it will eclipse everything I've done in football. Yeah.
Jason, if there's someone watching now that is not necessarily someone that plays football, but anyone that's watching, they're in a really low place right now, and they're thinking, like you were thinking, even planning their own suicide, what would you say to them?
I think you've got to talk to someone. I think you've got to, even if it means opening up to a family member, but you've got to just say something, even if it seems like very small, but these small problems turn into big problems. That's how it started with me. And that's how it actually starts, you know what I mean? Men are, there's no coincidence, it's very much a problem with men. Obviously women suffer from, but I think the stats show that men
tend to keep it to themselves.
Yes, very macho. You know, you women do love to talk a lot. You know, you're very lucky that you women have like your coffee mornings will open up and express your feelings.
It's not a man thing traditionally to do that.
Usually men say, oh, I'll buy you a pint, and that's okay. Yeah. But
that's
I think
advice,
I think just express yourself and say exactly what's on your mind. You know what I mean, and open up. And then you're halfway there, you know, if you actually admit there's a problem.
It does feel scary to actually talk about it for the first time, because I remember when I first told my mum when I was depressed, I kept it hidden for years. But then when I finally did, it's like everything just came out. It was like it'd been building up for so long. But it is a relief when you do, even if, as you said, even if it's just one person, a family member or something, but it does get the ball rolling to your recovery. Definitely,
and you'd be surprised about how many other people would have had certain feelings as well in similar times in their life, because I think everybody in our lives are going to suffer from some sort of depression. Usually it's when we lose someone, kind of thing, you know, in funerals and stuff, you know, lose someone close to us. But, you know, it is an issue and it needs to be addressed, and the more we talk about it, you know, we'll get to a solution. Because obviously, you know, America's much way ahead of us. We're so far behind, but I think we're getting there.
And that's why we do this show as well.
Yes, of course. People like you, that's why we do it.
So Jason, what about football? Are you still playing? Do you still kick the ball
around?
I'm
not playing anymore. I'm nearly 37 now, so my days are finished. But I'm still involved. I'm refereeing at the moment at weekends, so that's something. Hopefully maybe it could take me all the way to the top. You know, I'd like to be a Premier League referee, and I work in primary schools as well.
Brilliant.
Doing FA tutoring, so I'm quite busy at the moment.
That's amazing. Jason, thank you so much for speaking to us and for being so open about your story, and I'm sure it's helped loads and loads of people. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, I'm Chrissy B, and my show is all about improving your mental health and being happy. Join me every Monday, Wednesday and Friday at 10 p.m. on my channel Sky 203. Visit chrissybshow.tv for more information and subscribe to our YouTube channel, Chrissy B Show. You can also follow us on Twitter and Instagram at Chrissy B Show and on our Facebook page, The Chrissy B Show.